now, but I'm running an antenna matcher on this with an RJ58. It's the same sign as connectors, guys. You know this. I took it off my Mako right here. See, it's on that one. The blue one was the Mako. So we're running a lot of cord. We got the tuner on right, but we're running that kind of system. We can hear Dallas talking to Australia right now at 3 pounds. But I have to show you the SWR. I had problems with that way. This thing's running at least almost a 2, like 2.42 or something without the connector here when I tried it today. And yeah, we hooked up the RG250 213, and we're running the same Radio Shack cable we had before on the other beam. The last time I run the beam antenna with this thing, the RG58 I had back in Utah. Well, it knocks it down to a 2 without the antenna matcher on. I have to tell you that. But on channel 1. And this tuner's Gen Tune. I set that for those channel 38 guys. And this other tuner is the same thing in the way. They only rate it to 100 watts. We might have to get one of those antenna versus type antenna tuners. That will do fine with this beam antenna, like what UDX791 said. I need one of those antenna tuners, a really good one. The SWR doesn't work that good, but the matcher works fine. We might run the Cobra 139 with this with the matcher on. The cable is swiped from this radio here I just did today. I had to take the barrel connectors off those things today. I'm running these 2 barrel connectors. I'm running one with that one on the end with a barrel connector over there to the antenna thing here with the RG58 to RG213. It took right there to the beam antenna. We can hear Australia. But a guy on channel 12 heard me, Corncob heard me on my beam. So it's working, guys, with this. But I'm going to keep the tunes the way on my perfect channels. You'll see what I'm showing you. And I'll show you in a second. Let me turn this down. 1.1 on channel 1. This is the Trust SWR I like so far. And you can tune your matcher to do it. It works fine. We're going to go down all the way down channel 1, but it's kind of high, but channel 12 is okay. It's only like 1.4. It's not that okay, but I got the sidebands working. But I could jump on the Mako if I want to talk to him. Let me show you in a second. That's what I'm dealing with the antenna matcher, but I had to tune it for those upper channels like the 40. Yeah, that's what I want, the 40 and the upper freeband channels. You'll see what it is. This is what the antenna matcher, the AT, the 160 you guys seen. I paid 40 bucks a while back. They have one on there right now on Fleabay. And I got this one, but what happened with that meter with the box I put on? It must have knocked the SWR out. The SWR is still working, but it's kind of mismatching on that one right now. But except the antenna tuner is working good. And look at channel 41. I'll show you. Looking good, see? And the 425. And yeah, I can run on the Mako if I want to jump on channel 12, but everything's looking good. And I'll show you channel 51. This is the Jamaica channel 1. Looking good at 1.2. Not bad on the beam. It's not high up in the air. Let's check the triple nickel. Triple nickel's looking good. And we can go anywhere we want, guys. I can go almost anywhere on this channel. I'll jump on back on here in a second. We'll go down to channel 26. Those guys on Smoky Mountain Skip Chasers probably can hear me. We're looking good at 1.1 for those guys. I could talk to them if I wanted to talk to them anytime. At channel 24. It's not too bad. But that's the matcher on. I don't know if they can't hear me right now. I've been trying to get some DX lane on it. It's hard to move the beam down there on the ground. That's what I'm saying. But I pointed to Australia a while ago. And I went to channel 19. Someone actually heard me on that. Someone actually heard me on this channel a while ago. We're looking good. I'm going to try to do a radio check on this. Breaker 19. Breaker 19 for a radio check. How about, can anyone hear me on this channel? Breaker 19. Breaker 19 for a radio check. Audio testing 1, 2, 3. Because my beam's pointing towards southwest direction. If I point my beam toward northwest, that's the only way they can hear me. And I'm pointing to Australia right now, toward Dallas. We can hear them. I'll show you in a second, guys. I'm going to show you the SWR meter a little bit later. I'm going to pause this video and show you guys what I'm having. And I got the beam out there pointing toward Australia. I'm getting like 3 pounds out of them. CQDX, CQDX. This is UDX362, East Tennessee calling CQDX over the United States. How about any stations down the land, down under, in New Zealand? Can anyone hear me out there in Tennessee? This is UDX362 outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, trying. But Dallas came out 3 pounds on the beam. We're pretty low, at least 4 foot off the ground, we expect. But I heard some guys up in Iowa today, Michigan, when I pointed northwest direction, I could hear them pretty good. And I got a clear direction that way pretty good. And I heard Manitoba, Canada on the beam. Listen to that. That's on the beam. And that's with the antenna matcher on. We could swipe this cable over to the... We could actually swipe it over that way. I have to get a barrel connector for the other ones. I thought I need to find that. So I took this one off today for that beam antenna. They're not that much to buy. We can hear Australia way in the distance on the beam. If we turn on the maker, we probably hear them better. We hear Texas at the same time. I'm pointing that direction toward almost there. I don't know what direction it's in between that area. We could be blocking the plateaus. But the beam is working, guys. One guy actually heard me on channel 12 today. He was doing 7 pounds. That's without the preamp. We need to have a good antenna tuner that can actually handle my boxes. The RMLE and those, like a versus MJ versus tuner. That's what Jumbo Joe has. I need something like that. If you guys want to donate me one, if you don't have one sitting around, you don't want to get rid of it for free. I don't mind having it for free, and you guys can do it without. I don't have to pay the shipping and all that stuff. If you guys want to donate it for this channel, let me know. Because I need it for this beam antenna so we can get working on some shows. Listen to this. This is on the beam, guys. It's amazing it's working. I'll show you the SWRs later without the matcher. This is my reliable SWR right now when I tune it with the knobs. It works that way. So it's doing good. That's why this thing has SWR protection. I love this thing so it won't fry your radio. It's kind of warm in the back, but it'll be okay. It can handle the antenna matcher at 100 watts. We might have to try the Cobra 139 one night. Let's hope we don't smoke it. Okay. How about a 001 New Zealand? You're hearing almost 6 pounds in eastern Tennessee. This is UDX362 out here on the Quad 5 Top Gun. We're running a 200+2 microphone with a sirio SY27-4 element beam about 4 feet off the ground. Hope you can hear me out here barefoot tonight. This is UDX362 outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. How about that 01 down in New Zealand calling CQDX? This is UDX362 outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, trying. I hope you guys in Australia can hear me about a beam, about 4 elements, about 4 feet off the ground. UDX362 out here, trying barefoot out here on a Quad 5. Hope anyone can hear me out there calling CQDX. This is UDX362 outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, USA, calling. We can hear them, guys. This is the sirio SY27 test on the antenna matcher. I mean, it's doing okay. We can hear them. The problem is, We have to raise it up and we have to try something. We might have to get a better coax system. We have the RG213 on there right now with RG58 to get that SWR down quite a bit. It went down almost down to a 2.9 when I had it with both those together. But when I take it off there, it goes up to 247, 242 on channel 1. That's the problem that that thing has. It needs a tuner, but I did not trim the elements. I need to go with Jungle Joe's route, but I need to find a antenna tuner system. Pretty cheap, like a Versa tuner, that's what it needs. It'll have the SWR meters built into it. So we can run these boxes and get better boxes later on in the future. I hope they start rolling some of these prices down real soon. But we can run this antenna matcher for a while. Leave these things on the same knobs. It'll work with this radio here. As long as you don't mess with the knobs, it'll stay the same as this on here. And we'll probably run this box, see what happens. It shouldn't fry it. But need a good. Alright, I'll show you guys in a minute. I'm gonna scan the bands for a minute. We heard Dallas talking at 3 pounds a while ago. The beam is working, you can hear them. I'm pointing toward Australia, toward that area. We're channel 6, guys. Cool. We're on the back side of the beam. You guys can tell the beam is working. You might get Hawaiian Islands at this hour. Yeah, we're actually 1.4. See, that's... How about Hawaiian Islands calling DX Land, calling DX Land. This is Foxman at 362 over at Tennessee calling. Yeah, probably very way out. We're pointing southwest direction right now. I put it toward Australia right now. We're trying it out. And I'll show you guys the SWR meters, what it looks like later. Let's do it. How about at Welling, New Zealand? We can hear you at how about at Welling, New Zealand? This is UGX 362 from East Tennessee, waving back here. We're about 42 miles outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, USA. This is UGX 362. We're waving back to Wellington, New Zealand. I hope you can hear me on my 4-element beam, about 4 foot off the ground with a quad 5 Top Gun technology, turning to +2, and we're running barefoot out here tonight. I just want to let you know I'm on the way back to Welling, New Zealand. I hope we made a trip tonight. UGX 362 outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, USA. Waving down to New Zealand. He came in pretty good, but that's where my beam's pointed. We're on the right direction, guys, and I know it. I had to move it around. I heard the Australia came in, and I was picking up all kinds of stations every day with this thing. I'm going to show you the SWR in a minute, okay? Be right back in a second. So that's what the RJ, you know, like the RJ, that's the one that I use that connector for all my radios. This one here, this one actually runs to one of the second adapters to that thing here. So it's got the beam antenna on that. I swiped that one with the Mako V1000 today. We put it back to, again, we want. This is the one that is running from there. It also went into this. And the other connector goes to the quad 5 in the back. But I have another jumper cable that runs that too. if I want to swipe it. Except I had to took one of these off today with the barrel connector to put it on that antenna out there today. I'll show you guys in a minute. We're hitting like 1.91 with the width about 18-foot coax of that, the RG8. Then there's like 50-foot about RG58, but that's the RG8 58U. That's a low-cost cable. That's the one that runs like two antennas to one radio, or you can run two radios with one antenna on it. That's what you can do. I bought that back 4 years ago, when I thought I was going to use it as a miniature beam antenna. And I'll show you guys what I'm looking at, 27 megahertz. You guys can see this up close. Guys, don't get scared. I'll show you in a second. See how it's going down low? This is actually channel 20 at 1.85. This is like, if you extend the coax, it usually lowers the SWR. It does. You probably need at least over 100 to 200 feet to knock that down completely in half. If you want to send me an RG213s borrow them, let me know. I only got a 50-foot one out there and running an RG58. Another 50-foot, that's total 100 feet in all. And 18 feet, that puts almost at least, I'm looking at 118 feet total in coax up here. So that's actually channel 30 at 1.79. But we knocked that antenna matcher to 1.2 when we tune it. That's why I need an antenna matcher for these. Because the longer the coax, the better your SWR knocks it down. Or we need to raise it up higher to get this down quite a bit. This is without the antenna matcher right now. And we're looking at 1.61 on channel 32. That's without the antenna matcher. You guys can see it. I'll show you guys my eyes on that. See what I mean? But it's way on the ground. But I got at least 118 total coax in foot right now. See, it goes back high on the channels. But I had that tuner when I tuned it almost down to a 2. And I knew I was going to be almost very close. This is actually channel, almost close to channel 1 right here. At 1.91. See what I mean? I'll show you in a second. That's what I had. Before, when I had the RG58 back about a month ago, we were hitting almost a 3. You guys can see that right now. Let me show you in a second. Oh, what is that? Is that 105? Oh, 185. Okay. Terrible. That's why we got to get a tuner for this to get it knocked down. Or we could extend our coax larger. Probably need some kind of balun on this beam antenna to get it lower. But it's pretty perfect where I want it. So we're down to 1.81 on channel 30. And channel 38 is down to 1.79. See, the lowest we can get is 1.62 on, it's 1.82 or 62. It's 82 on channel 26. Well, let me show you guys in a second. This is what this is about 100-foot coax, almost 118 foot total in all. But when you put the antenna matcher, it knocks it down to 1.1 on all channels, except that channel 1. So I probably need an antenna tuner like the one with Jungle Joe has. And that's probably need to look for one of those before I get that thing put on a rotor later on. But we have to still put the beam poles together when I get time when I do this. We got the beam working, at least we got it. But we can pick up stations from Iowa and Canada. I heard them on the ground. And I heard stations over there. And you have to move it around point. I'm pointing toward Australia right now, but you can move it around a little later to point other directions. So I just want to show you guys with the results. So I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes. I'm going to disconnect this connector and show you what the 2.0 looks like with a 100-foot coax. Be right back in a couple of minutes. This is with a 100-foot coax. I'll show you, it's the same adapter I'm using. The other one was hooked in the back right here with this guy. Right here. So we got to get some barrel connected. I need to get a good antenna tuner. Something, I'm probably have to get one like a 300 watt one. But let me tell you, if someone has one of those antenna tuners laying around like an MJ Versus, let me know. Send me one of them for free. Because I can get this beam antenna going when I'm doing. Maybe we'll get a show going or something. We can try to do some contacts. But I talked to a guy on channel 12 today, that corn cob. He heard me. He was hitting 7 pounds. It's kind of, because if you turn the preamp, you can hear that. Probably you were hitting like 30 pounds with the preamp on. But the Mako's doing very fantastic. It's doing very good on all over the board. The Mako has no problem with the SW. That one doesn't need no antenna matcher at all. The one with the Mako out there, I fixed that. I tuned that thing just perfect with the Nano BA, and everything's working good with it. So this is actually, I don't know if you guys can see it up close. So you guys can take a look at that. This is actually the same results, 1.90 on channel 1. And that's channel 20. Hold on a minute. Yeah, it's 1.999 on channel 1 right here, you guys. You can see that result. Get a close on that. Let's take a look at channel 24, 1.91. See. And channel 32 is like it's 1.88 on channel 32. And I'll show you in a second. 38 is like 38 is actually channel 1.86, I think it is. Then it drops down to 1.85 on channel 40. 42 goes up to 1.84. See what I mean? So when you put the antenna matcher, it drops it in half. That's why you got to get it down to a 2 almost. And I tried everything I tuned on that board with the thing on the ground about 4 feet off the ground. And mostly these antennas need trimming too, but I'm not trimming it because I probably have to use like what Jungle Joe does with some kind of antenna matcher like his. And that's why I need something like that. Like you tune it with the knobs, you don't have to worry about it. Once you tune it, you're okay. You can go anywhere on the band. But I got that auto tune I got made a while back. We used that for one. We haven't tried that out yet. But we tried a manual tuner like one of these. This one did very well, and I talked to someone a couple miles away. They told me I heard me crystal clear. He was hitting 7 pounds for me, and he was 3 miles away, or it could have been 4 miles away from me. He heard me. It could have been Flash or Corncob, and probably that's who it was. And I've talked to this guy before, and he was on my, I was not pointing straight at him, I was pointing northwest direction toward the other way toward the tree out in my backyard. The one that had the antenna of the tree, I was pointing that toward that direction over that way to get northwest stations. And I was picking up Michigan, Manitoba, Canada with the beam today. And I was here in Indianapolis, St. Paul out there. Indianapolis, I was picking him up really, he was booming like 7 to 9 pounds. He was blowing smoke out really loud in here. And I heard him way out there too. And there was actually one guy heard me in Tennessee a while ago, I think it was. I think it was on the Cobra 139, I don't know. But I could hear them all in there, and I heard a guy from Chicago on the northwest direction beam on it. I was getting Chicago too, about 30-40 minutes ago. So yeah, if I want to go out there and move the beam, I could go pointing any direction I want. And we'll have to try it again. Maybe we'll get some tests out. Maybe we'll get those Jamaican stations we can talk to them. They're not going to be on the air for a while. But this tuner did really good today. And the other one I have in my hands, this tuner right here, I got the same tune, almost the same thing. But that one right there does a lot much better right there. The one right there with the Allen one. That one did really good. But the SWR's meter is kind of messed up because I ran those big boxes on it. The matcher is working fine. This one did pretty good. I tuned it for the same channels for this. So this is a PC60, a Paradymatics PC5. I have a second one of these too. But that other one I got, that's the antenna tuner I used to use on my other one. This one is totally trash because I know this one does not work. And I'll show you in a second. This one does not work. I tried this today. It doesn't do anything. I tried to tune the knobs to it. Forget this thing. It does not work at all. Maybe somebody can make a homemade tuner out of this. It'd be nice. But it does not work on my radios today. I tried that. Put my quad 5. Because I used the quad 5 with the SW meter to tune it with the matcher. So that's how it works. When you key your mic on the turner, then I had to do that today, and then look at the meter on that thing, and when I tune the knobs, you can get them down quite a bit, and it should be able to work that way. You can use an antenna meter tuner at the same time when you look at your quad 5 meter, your SWR meter. It'll even tell your SWR is too high, and it will not transmit. The thing is protected. You guys see it at 202 on the connector. Yeah, it went back up the same thing like that today. That's what I had. It went up to 202 on channel 1. Yeah, that's it. That's what happened today. The same exact results I had today, just like that. That's what it did. You guys see that on 27 megahertz. And I'll show you what the other one I'm going to do. I'm going to disconnect this and I'll show you in a minute. The R213. But that's why I had to run this cord today into this matcher with the other connector, and that thing did work good. And that's why I had to get it down. If you get it down to a 2, you can use your matcher to get it down to 1.1, and it should be less string on the matcher. So I'll be right back in a couple minutes. We'll hook up the RG213. You'll see the 50-foot cord I did today. Okay guys, I'll see the result. You guys can see it. See it? I'm doing with that right away. That's an adapter here, and mostly, put that back there. And we ran this connector today right here. This is the one that I ran the connector today with this. And we did very good with the antenna matcher. Too bad you can't run the antenna matcher at the same time with this. So I ran this connector to this barrel connector in here. You guys can see the barrel connector right about there, where it connects to that with this coax. That's the RG58 I used the last time on my beam antenna. The first video you guys saw, the one that didn't have the high SDR, it was almost near 3. This is a little better. We'll show you in a second. You guys can see that. We're at 2.40. I don't know if you guys can see this kind of stuff. Let's see if we can tune it down and show it to you. See it? You guys are looking at on channel 27, on 27 megahertz. And when it does down to channel 1.20, that's channel 16, and this is channel 32 at 2.16, I think it is. 2.10, that's right. SWR. And channel 38 is at 2.05. So actually you're going to do this beam antenna. It's looking great at 2.0 on channel 50. and then sound 1.9 on channel 56. And that's all we gotta do. So I hate to say that, but that's why I need an antenna tuner for this. I know it's the only way I had to do this. If I got another RJ213, would have dropped the SWR quite a bit down if we had 100 feet. But when I put an RJ58 with it, it actually did knock it down quite a bit. But it got down to almost to a 2 on all channels. No, it got down to 1.6 and almost somewhere 2s. Mostly all 2s. You guys saw the result. So I just had to show you. But this is the best result I can run right now for a while until we get some more cable. But we got to get an antenna tuner for this, a really good one. We can knock it down. But this cable will do work because this cable can rate it to 300. It can handle the boxes I have right now. The boxes, you can always upgrade to 300 to 500 watts, and they'll be able to handle this RG. It'll be able to handle the coax. It won't hurt it that much with these both too. If you run the RG58 with a 213, it should be fine. And we'll probably have to ground the thing with this. We run this connector outside, like we did the last time with the Mako. We can run this on a connector like this with that two-way with the one with the alpha delta. We can actually run this to this in the ground like we did the last time when I did the rod. We could do that later on and run this from outside and run that coax mostly inside here for the second antenna beam. And you can run all my antenna matchers and all that stuff, and it will run everything you want. And you can run all your radios with it, no problem. We could do it that way. Now, then we'll go with that setup, but I need an antenna tuner for sure if you guys want to donate one. You know, like the one I'm talking about, the Versa one, the one Jungle Joe has, and the one Wagon Master has. That's the kind of thing I need. And I've seen them down to 35 bucks on Fleabay, but some people grab them too quick. But it only goes rated to 300 watts. Mostly my boxes go at least 100 to 250 watts, and mostly some could go almost near 300, between almost 250. We can get like a 1,000 watt one. That would be set me for life. And now I can run almost every antenna in the world. Let's hope there is when that company MFJ goes out of business, I think there'll be more of them for sale when people put them on Fleabay. Keep an eye on them. And I need to get a really nice one. Then I need a rotor for my beam antenna for sure, so I don't have to go mess with this thing when I pull it around every time. But I gotta get the poles first. At least we got to hear some contacts today, but it's hard to make DX contacts right now if it's 4 foot off the ground. But we're receiving Australia on it, and we're picking up people up in Iowa and all those stations up there. I did today. Heard Chicago, Indianapolis, and he was coming really good. Because if I raise my beam up to 30 to 40 feet, somewhere around that range, we should be okay with a tuner, just like Jungle Joe's. So I'm going to let you guys go, and we'll bring out some videos in about 10 minutes. We'll show you what the DX is going to go on right now for a couple of minutes, and we'll get on out of here with the video. I'll be right back in a couple of minutes. We'll hook this all back up again.